Going back to last week, definitely want to thank our fans again for an amazing environment in Williams-Brice Stadium on Saturday night. That was awesome, and we're gonna need to do it again this Saturday as well. We've only got two home games left, so they don't need to be saving themselves for anything. We need a rocking environment this weekend for sure. I want to thank the cockpit also. What a great job they did last weekend. Student section, in fact, we won the toss and deferred, so that meant Texas A&M got the ball to start the second half, and we had a choice of which way we wanted to kick, and every game is different. Sometimes you kick a certain way because of the wind or sun or whatever. But Saturday night we chose to kick towards the cockpit in the third quarter because we wanted A&M to have to start the second half down there near our student section because of the noise that was being created down there. So thank you. We also need you to stay there for the full game so we can have that advantage in the fourth quarter too, please. I got a big challenge this week with Missouri. They're a really talented team that has been in every game, every SEC game they've played this season. You look at them, they've got 3 losses in the SEC by 3 points, 4 points, and 7 points. So every single game they've played in conference this year has come down to one possession. They're greatly improved on defense. Coach Drinkwitz made a change at coordinator after the season, and they are playing lights out on defense right now. Statistically, you look at them in red zone, third down, total defense. They're right up there near the top in our league in pretty much every single category and doing a great job. They present a lot of problems for offenses, and they've presented a lot of problems for every offense they've played in the SEC this year, including Georgia. I had a chance to obviously watch that game when they played early in the season. Offensively, they're really good on the offensive line. A lot of returning players. Their receivers are dynamic, tough, physical running backs, athletic quarterback from an offensive standpoint, and then dangerous in the return game as well. We talked to our players about it this morning. We've been pretty good with our punt pressure unit, returning punts, and these guys are actually statistically averaging more yards per return on a punt return than we are with the receiver that's back there returning kicks. So it'll be a big challenge for us as well, but going to be an awesome weekend. Looking forward to seeing a lot of former players and lettermen and students that are coming back this weekend as well. Saw a list earlier this morning of a lot of our former players that will be back and former lettermen that are going to be in town. So I'm so honored as the head coach that so many of these guys want to come back and be a part of a football weekend and this university, and certainly congratulations to all of our Hall of Fame honorees this weekend in athletics. Corey Miller, a great friend of our program and well-deserved for Corey, so really fired up for him. Congratulations. And then Del Wilkes as well. Certainly our thoughts and prayers go out to his family as well, but what an honor for he and his family also this weekend. So got a big challenge, off to a good start. Injury-wise, we're in great shape. Corey Rucker won't play, but other than that, everybody else is in great shape. Terrell Dawkins practiced today again and is getting closer and closer to playing. And with that, David, what you got?
Thanks, Shane.
Yep.
Brad was just in here. Brad Johnson talked about trying not to be too satisfied with comfort, being ranked, having won 4 games. Have you seen anybody the past couple of days of practice come out, maybe walking a little different? Did you have to maybe knock anybody down a few pegs?
Not yet. They've been really good. Sunday, thought they were very, obviously a lot of energy and excitement here in the building on Sunday. But, they're motivated to get back to work. Yesterday was their off day, but I saw Stone Blanton and Tanner Bailey up here last night at I was probably 9:30 or so, just trying to get some extra work in and watching video on their off day. And then this morning, we had a really good practice this morning, and we talked about it. I mean, obviously, we're excited about where we are, but the only ranking that matters is the end of the season, and we got a lot more in front of us. And we talked about it. We're writing the story still of this 2022 football team, and I would certainly hate for the high mark and the high point to be the last 2 weeks. We got to continue to get better, and that's what we're really focusing on right now, is getting better as a team. But no, I haven't seen any signs, and I thought today was a really productive practice.
Shane, you mentioned Corey not playing. Is that a situation where you might look to preserve him and maybe preserve a red shirt with the injury?
Potentially. I mean, I think it's probably trending in that direction for where whenever he gets when he gets healthy, if he's able to get healthy this season, it's probably going to be to the point where you could play him this season and preserve some games. So it's kind of a day-to-day thing with him. But as each week goes by, I'd say that's getting more and more likely.
And you guys have done a really good job the last 2 weeks or so about pressuring the quarterback. How much value do you put on sacks, and how much value is it instead of just getting the quarterback off the spot, hitting the quarterback and hurrying him?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you'd love to get sacks and tackles for loss, but we hit that Texas A&M quarterback the other night a lot and affected him. And that was the whole plan going into it, is we could not let that quarterback – we needed to tackle really well and not let A-Chain get going, and we needed to affect the quarterback and not let him get comfortable, and felt like we did, where you're constantly just feeling pressure, whether it be from the front four, whether it was some of the secondary pressures that Clayton was calling. The more you can affect that quarterback and not let him get comfortable, the better. Obviously, ideally, you'd love to have sacks, but the more you can affect that guy and make him hurry throws and just feel the rush, certainly is what we want to get done.
Shane, I know you've been part of a lot of teams that have been ranked a lot as an assistant. Does this feel any different at all because it's your first time as a head coach?
Yes. I'd love to give you the cool coach speak and tell you they're all the same. But no, when you're the head coach and you're ranked, it's certainly something we're proud of, but not satisfied with. But I look at it more as it's just the next step, and credit the players and the people in this program to be, 2 years ago at this time, a 2-win team that being ranked in the top 25 was the furthest thing from anybody's mind, to now, less than 2 years later, to be ranked in the top 25, to me is just a sign that and another statement that we're headed in the right direction, and a credit to the people in this program and how they've worked to get to this point as well. So, happy with where we are, but again, we've got a lot of football left this season and a lot of work to do, and we're nowhere near satisfied, and we shouldn't be.
You were talking earlier about the fact that it's homecoming week. Obviously, your job kind of moves you around a lot from place to place, but it seems here just 2 years in, you've kind of already developed a pretty strong passion for the area, just emotional moments with your family, with the players, the fans. Just has this place kind of already become home for you?
Yeah, I feel that way. I mean, I felt very much that way before I came back as well, just because of the ties here personally when I got hired and being born in Charleston, and two of Emily and I's 3 children being born here. When we were here before as an assistant coach. So this is really where we felt was home in our minds, and where we always wanted to get back to when we were coaching at other places, and certainly being able to come back and, strengthen relationships with people we already have relationships with from our time here before, but then to be able to develop relationships and develop great friendships with new people that we've gotten to know here in the program and outside the program also, it absolutely does.
Hey, Coach.
Hey.
Brad Johnson said earlier he felt like a lot of the guys felt like you guys as a team were sort of disrespected early in the season. Did going through that help you guys to kind of be able to tune out the positive noise now? Does it make that sweeter? Like, how does the way that you guys started kind of affect the narrative now?
I think people, and I get it, the way we played at Arkansas and the way we played at Georgia, opens yourself up to being criticized, and starting with me, and rightfully so. I think I said it then. I didn't feel like we were as bad as we looked, particularly against Georgia. And a lot of people sure were disrespecting us, writing us off, whatever. And I think the thing that we just got to keep in mind is we got some loyal, great fans, so I'm not talking about them, but there's a lot of people, I'm sure, that are patting us on the back and telling us how great we are right now, that we're the same people after Georgia that probably weren't necessarily saying that. And, just for us, it's just tunnel vision and whatever you can find to motivate yourself and have yourself play with an edge each week you're always looking for, but not worried so much about what's being said outside this building. We didn't then, and we definitely don't need to now. We need our focus needs to be on nothing but just getting better and trying to figure out a way to play really, really well on Saturday against a good team.
Hey, Shane, another question along the ranking storyline. First time as a head coach going into a game week with a nationally ranked team, what is the more important message? Is it a cautionary tale of what happened, let's just say, the last time the Gamecocks were ranked didn't last very long, or what it will take to stay ranked and to climb up in the polls?
What it would take to stay and continue to climb, which means we're getting better as a football team. I mean, that wasn't our message this morning. Was nothing about staying ranked and not falling out of the polls. It was more, what do we have to do to continue to get better as a football team, and starting this week against a team that certainly none of us were proud of that. None of us enjoyed that day in Columbia, Missouri last year, and that was a long bus ride back to St. Louis that night after the game because we couldn't fly out of Columbia after the game. So that game doesn't really have anything to do with this year's game, but we've got plenty of motivation to get better as a team and just continue to improve. And we were talking about that, Rick, after we lost to Georgia and we were 1-2. It was improve as a team and how much better can we get as this season goes on. It was the same thing after Kentucky, and it's the same thing right now. We've had 2 really big wins in a row, 4 straight, but we've got a lot of work to do and a lot to get better at, and that's our focus right now and nothing else.
You weren't real happy early in the season with the perimeter blocking in the run game. What did y'all do to address that? What kind of message have you given the players internally about their improvement, and how much has that in general just helped the improvement of the run game the last 3 weeks?
It helps because you've got to be able to, and I said it to you guys too, a lot of these runs that didn't look great and people want to blame the offensive line, a lot of those runs that weren't successful for us at times were because we didn't do a great job blocking a safety or blocking a corner, and the defensive back's able to come off and make a tackle on one of our running backs. So we just continued to work at it. They have been better. We still have to continue to be better. And it goes the other way, too. Defensively, we got to do a great job of getting off blocks and stopping a lot of those perimeter runs and screens that teams use against us. So it was, one, just continue to, really, really coach it hard. 2, could just continue to really emphasize it in practice. We on Tuesdays we do a 5-minute period where it's without the linemen, but it's just perimeter throws and good competitive work, offense versus defense. And then we actually just kind of added a period a couple weeks ago on our Wednesday practice where it's offense versus defense, full 11 on 11, and it's pretty much just perimeter plays, and you got to get a certain number of yards, and the winner of the period, the offense or the defense, they get to eat first at the hotel on Friday night. So that cranked up the motivation to go be a really good perimeter blocker, that meaning you get to eat first at the hotel on Friday night. So just trying to find ways to make practice more and more competitive, but I think the biggest thing is just really just continuing to coach it, and it's not easy out there. Amari Brown's out there the other night. He's trying to block a linebacker from Texas A&M on the play that Juju fumbled, and he's willing to put his face in there and strike people. And we've just got to continue to play with good technique and strain and sustain and finish blocks out there, and then get off of blocks defensively also.
Shane, with the defense, I know we joked about the injury report. This is like the first week you guys actually had just about everyone out there, minus the guys who are out for the season. I guess just what's that done for this group, and I guess how much can you take from last week's performance, the last couple weeks with the defense, and parlay the rest of the way? Getting healthy, you mean? Getting healthy and just having that full complement of guys, especially in the secondary.
It's huge, just from a depth standpoint. We talked about it, I believe. Kentucky, David Spalding, DQ Smith, and Nicky Manwari played every snap of the Kentucky game. Every snap. And very rarely does that happen. I mean, Torian and Clayton and myself, we like to rotate guys in and keep them fresh, but we weren't able to that night. So from a defensive standpoint, it helps because you're able to get some other guys in there. The other night against A&M, we played some multiple personnel packages defensively with extra defensive backs and things like that on the field, a little bit more than what we had been beyond your basic 5 DB nickel package. We weren't really able to do that against Kentucky. so that helps. You can play guys in different positions. Spalding could play nickel. Spalding could play safety. Cam could play nickel. Cam could play corner, whatever it may be. DQ could play safety. DQ could play nickel. So it just opens up possibilities. And then the other thing, it makes your special teams better because you've now got more depth, at defensive back. So therefore you can play a few more defensive backs on special teams because you're not worried about the lack of depth and, okay, DQ Smith's playing 82 plays or whatever on defense. We can't have him out there covering kicks. Well, now if you got a more personnel at defensive back, you can do that a little bit more. It's a great haircut, Hale, by the way. You're looking sharp, man. Like that. Fresh one, right? New one?
I got one. Yeah.
Was it last week? I didn't notice if you got it last week.
I got it this morning.
Oh, I love that. It looks great. Yep.
Hey, how you doing? Missouri's they're top 10 in the country right now in stopping third downs. You had your most efficient game of the season last week on third downs. You were 8 for 16. Did you change anything in that regard in practices the last few weeks, and how do you kind of keep that going into this?
No, but no, that was I wish I could say we did. I mean, we didn't do anything differently from a third down standpoint. And I mean, A&M, I know I talked about it, but that's a really, really, really good defense that we just played last week. Really good. Up front, at linebacker, size in the secondary, and I don't care what they were statistically and all that. They were really good defensively in a lot of areas. And credit our offense. 8 of 16. Pretty dang sporty against those guys. Now we've got to be better on first down and second down where we can stay out of third down. And when we do, I mean, the disappointing thing on third down was the other night was short yardage. We weren't able to convert on a 4th and 1 at the end of the game. We weren't able to convert on a 3rd and 1 or a 3rd and 2. We got to be better there, but no. And then this week will be a big challenge as well. Missouri's really, really good on third down. Missouri's really, really good defensively in the red zone. Missouri's really, really good at forcing turnovers defensively as well. So it'll be a big challenge this week also.
It's Troy's cutting edge on Forest Drive. You want to go see my man Troy?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good promo for him there.
Right, yeah. And name, image, likeness. Following up on that question, CBS was talking about how there were a couple of those third downs that he should have just, I guess, taken the 1-2 yards that were there instead of trying to hit the home run. Is that, I guess that's been an emphasis for him and some of the guys.
And I was talking with him and texting with him on Sunday morning because, I mean, not enough people to me are talking about the play earlier in the game right before he scored the touchdown. I mean, go back and watch that play. I mean, we did not even block the linebacker, and he and CBS had a violent collision right at the line of scrimmage that he broke off that tackle and then broke about 3 more tackles. I mean, it was one of the more amazing individual efforts I've seen. And then the very next play, he scores a touchdown. So he did a lot of really good things. And he said that. He said, I felt like I missed a couple reads in a couple of those short yardage situations. But and he's not wrong. But in his defense, too, we allowed some penetration. And one of those, I think we got knocked back a little bit at the tight end position, and he had to kind of round it a little bit. But absolutely, in that scenario, we always use the term skip a rock, meaning you just got to put your head down and just like skipping a rock, crosswater, go. And just put your head down and go get that first down. And he knows that. I mean, he's a physical player that we got no problem putting him in those situations again.
Hey, Shane, you mentioned the strides that the Missouri defense has taken in terms of turnovers and red zone defense. Of course, your team has taken its own strides this season. So what's the biggest hurdle that this Missouri defense creates that'll stop your guys' momentum?
They're well coached. I mean, they're disruptive. I mean, that's the biggest thing. They've got the two defensive ends, really the whole defensive line. I mean, they have the ability to single-handedly wreck a football game up front. And I know one of them's from right here in Columbia, and the thing that jumps out about them is starting up front, the defensive line, just the size and the length they have, and the ability to single-handedly wreck your game plan. They're really, really talented, and they caused us problems last year in Missouri as well. And then, they're good at linebacker. They're good in the secondary. But, I think just the scheme, they're not sit back and react to what you're doing. They're on the attack defensively from the time they take the field to the time the game's over, and that'll be a big challenge for our guys for sure.
Shane, I got two questions. First one being Darius Rush. He had a big game on Saturday. How much of a testament to like his ability was that game on Saturday? And then number two, Eli Drinkwitz was in his presser earlier talking about the tragedy in St. Louis. Will you guys be doing anything to honor them or be wearing something to honor this victim?
Darius Rush, he was awesome. Congratulations to Darius, SEC Defensive Player of the Week. And shoot, I know Xavier got it for special teams. Darius, to me, could have gotten it for special teams too. He made 3 tackles on the punt team alone. So it's good to have Darius back healthy, and that was great to see him playing. I mean, we've got 3, if you talk about Sell, and we've got 3 really, really big-time SEC corners that allow us the ability to do a lot of things defensively. Put those guys on an island, which Rush was out there on an island by himself on that interception. I mean, he had no help anywhere, and he was out there one-on-one and made a great play. So Darius is a big-time player, and excited to see him getting healthy. And then in regards to the tragedy in St. Louis, certainly I should have mentioned at the beginning, thoughts and prayers go out to the people at that school and that community. And I did read where Eli and then we're going to do something. I'll be honest with you, haven't talked about it yet. But glad, certainly thoughts and prayers go out to that school and that community.
Luther Burden, when you were at Oklahoma, did you do much with him, and just how special a talent is he?
Yeah, he's special. I really didn't, me personally, Phil. I mean, I know we were highly interested in him. Lincoln and our receivers coach were all over him, being there from St. Louis. And we had some pretty good success with some players from the St. Louis area on our team at Oklahoma, so felt like we had a great shot at Luther when I was there. And somebody, anytime you're doing recruiting calls in the office, it was always our receivers coach giving the phone to Lincoln, hey, I got Luther on the phone. That was all the time. And he was a great player in high school, and he's a great talent there for them right now, not just playing receiver, but you see it on punt returns also. I mean, the guy's fearless from a punt return standpoint. He's already taken 1 back for a touchdown this year, and he'll field it anywhere. I mean, he had a play against Vandy the other day where he fielded the punt in the end zone and then ran it out and almost popped it for a big one. So he's really, really explosive and really talented, along with the rest of those receivers they have there too.
Coach, you've become quite the TikTok sensation over the last few months. I'm wondering, when you're asked to make these TikToks, do you know what the trends are? And then what does that creative process look like?
I wish I could tell you I did. When the Soldier Boy was at a TikTok deal, okay, so really had no idea. Justin's like, I got a great idea, and I need you to do this. It's something that's going on social media with TikTok right now, and it'll be huge. I said, okay. And then last week, what was it? Last week was the sunglasses. Yeah, he came. Really, it's Justin King. Justin came to me and said, I need you to bring the sunglasses with you to work tomorrow. I've got an idea. Can you meet me in the stadium tomorrow night when it's dark? I said, yeah. I mean, we're in between meetings around 7:15, 7:30. I can sneak over there real quick. I don't have the sunglasses. They were in my daughter's room, so I had to ask Olivia, can I have the sunglasses? And then I'm like, all right, what do you need me to do? And he said, I just need you to stare at the camera. And I stared at the camera. Then he said, I need you to purse your lips and just move your head back and forth. And I said, that's it? He's like, yeah, I promise. It's like a big thing going on right now, and it's going to be huge. And I said, just please don't make me look like an idiot. And he probably did. I mean, I probably did look like an idiot, but apparently I'm not on TikTok. I should be. My kids are, so they know what the heck's going on. I made them proud. But that's really the process. Justin, don't make me look more of a idiot or goofball than I probably already am. And if he says it's good and needs to be done, I usually trust him because he's never wrong. Yet. So.
Hey, Shane.
It was good, though? I mean, from a TikTok. Okay.
People want to know what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know. Ask Justin. I wish I knew.
Hey, Shane. How would you say the atmosphere at Williams-Brice compares to any other place that you've played or coached at?
I would say it's right at the top. I took all kinds of, stuff when I posted something on social media yesterday or about what I said after the game to Cole Kubelik on the field after the game. But, I mean, it's true. That atmosphere Saturday night was unbelievable. I mean, Texas A&M was at 8 ball starts? 7, 8? mean, think about it, guys. Like 8 false starts that single-handedly were because of the crowd noise. It's unbelievable, and it's not unbelievable knowing our fans. It's right at the top, and trust me, I'm blessed. I've been around some to be able to be in some great environments as a GA at Tennessee, or coaching here before, or coaching at Virginia Tech, or out in Oklahoma, or at Georgia. I mean, those are all great atmospheres and environments. Mississippi State and Georgia Tech, certain games. But Saturday night in that stadium, our fans were a true weapon for us. And I said at the beginning of the season, it was already great, but with what our administration's done over there with the lights and the sound system and everything else, it's better than it's ever been. And that showed Saturday night in the stadium.
Hey, Coach. Josh Van spoke earlier about his learning how to balance the early stages as a father.
Mm-hmm.
What do you remember from your days kind of learning that process of balance, and then what do you do to kind of support the fathers in your program?
Oh, man. I have an amazing wife, first and foremost, that did so much of that. I remember, laying in bed, and sometimes you're tired from the day at work, and you hear the baby crying, and you're sort of pretending to be asleep, hoping your wife's going to get up, and then she wakes up in the morning, and you're saying, "Did Sutton sleep through the night?" And she looks at you like, "You know what? Really, I didn't hear her." So thank God I've got a great wife, but and that's true, but. For me, it's just it was just trying to balance, and I want to be a great dad, but I also had an obligation as a coach too. And I was fortunate to work when I was a young father, worked for Coach Spurrier here, and then when I was coaching for my dad at Virginia Tech when our son was born. So I was around 2 coaches that valued family, and you work really hard, but you're able to be with your family and include them in what you're doing. And I love being able to include the children of our coaches here in this program. I mean, we're away from them a lot because of the job and recruiting and things like that. But I want our families to feel a part of this program, and it's no different with Josh and some of the other dads that we have on this team, and they're awesome. I mean, it's a couple times you kind of do a double take. I remember after one of the first games, we finished Gamecock walk, and there's Cam walking through the locker room with his baby and whatnot, and proud of those guys because I know it's not easy. Sometimes I look over at them at meetings when we meet at 8:00 in the morning, and they may be a little bit sleepier than some of those other guys, and one of those other guys I may be a little bit quicker to jump than them because I know that there's a chance they may have been up all night or something like that. I'm like, I got up with the kids. Don't get me wrong, I'm not that guy. There was plenty of times I got up and rocked and laid in the floor and tried to get the kids to go back to sleep. But I understand that the sacrifices that they make, and Josh has been awesome. I mean, he's just seeing the excitement that he has and the dad that he is and has become is pretty cool to see. I mean, he's very, very, very proud and rightfully should be.
You're wanting the bottom trophy. You satisfied with the Saluda replica?
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks to bringing it out today, and that was quick work. Quick work also. Yep, absolutely. Proud of what it stands for and proud to have it, and then another trophy game this week as well.
Shane, you're at the point of your career where you're getting a lot of firsts, pretty much every week. So when you came in, did you have a list of paper in your pocket? Did you write down a list of goals saying this is our first that I want to do while I'm in South Carolina?
No. I wish I could tell you that I did. I really didn't. I know it's cliche, but it was very just process oriented. Let's just get to work and be the best we can be today, and then stack another good day on top of it. And then if you do that, the first will come. But I really didn't. I think when I got hired, David, it was just so much to do. It just you could be overwhelmed if you start thinking about, okay, this and this. It was, let's get to work, and all right, we got a coaching staff hired. What's next? And then here comes spring practice, and let's get it better in spring practice. And then what's next? And you just keep working hard, and then the success comes from that, if that makes sense. Thank you, Coach. All right, thank you all.